Quack. 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 12 in. Ow! I am your host, Adam Chimeo.
And I'm Aaron Schroeder, baby.
That is right. And this is the Quack 12 podcast, the most official, unofficial Oregon Ducks podcast on the web footosphere. And Aaron, we are also on YouTube. We are also visible. I look kind of like I'm in a haunted bros man cave kind of lighting, and then you look just absolutely stunning in an electric, very clearly Instagrammy, Etsy looking background, and with a wonderful sun hat. If you'd like to see this, listeners, please go follow us on our YouTube because it's simply something you got to see.
And Adam, I got to tell you,
what's that?
Thanks for mentioning the sun hat because it is hot outside.
I know there's a lot of news listeners, but we really wanted to stress from the get-go that it is very hot, and we are very hot. And not only that, but the smoke
Adam,
in Eugene is terrible. The smoke in Eugene is absolutely terrible. At one point, I looked it up. I don't know if I can really believe this with all the fires going around, these terrible fires going around the country and the world.
Jeez.
But our hearts go out to Hawaii, obviously, and in Maui right now. But in Eugene, I looked it up once, and supposedly we had the worst air quality in the country, which is saying something for a country that's like on fire. You know, it was terrible. It wasn't quite as bad as the truly apocalyptic times of like 2020 when those fires were raging and the sky was actually redder than the devil's you-know-what. Trying to censor myself here. That was truly terrible-looking times. I had never seen anything like that. And COVID was really raging on at the exact same time. Thought I was about to meet my maker. But these were also really bad.
Which is interesting because you don't prescribe to the maker.
I don't prescribe to the maker, but
that's maker.
We'll talk about that on Sunday. My only maker is Marcus Mariota. He's my one true god.
Ooh, girl!
And
Keep on talking.
This deity right here, Phil Knight. May you always give us money. May you never die.
Yeah.
Now,
and if you do, just be cool. Let your family be cool.
Supposedly, the football program actually was embracing the heat because they know. Week 2, we got to take on Texas Tech, so you got to absorb it in. You've been to Lubbock, right? What are your thoughts on Lubbock?
Yeah, Lubbock is hot. It's a little bit more of a dry temp. You know, I feel like it has a lower humidity, but we're also talking about big-time storm season down there, so that could be a factor.
What are your thoughts on the people?
My cousin went to Texas Tech.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
And, of course, Tyler Shuck, the wonderful ex-Duck. He's down there. He's tearing it up. Apparently had a pretty good season, despite, I think there was some injury, but overall showing some promise.
Tyler Shuck is tearing it up.
He's tearing it up. I like the way you dribble up and down the court.
I knew you'd hear it.
But we are practicing embracing the heat, though we did eventually had to go into the complex because it was like, no, the smoke is actually really bad. So we had to bring up the heat, man. I know it's sometimes the weather talk, the small talk. The weather talk is the big talk, you know what I mean? I'm dying.
Yeah, it's like some pretty cheesy old-timer shit. Oh, it's hot out there, huh?
It's you and I sitting on a porch, basically,
sipping
chairs.
on some iced tea.
That's what this podcast is. I prefer an Arnold Palmer, actually, because I got a bit of a sweet tooth, but lemonade is too much. There you go. Yeah. What's the alcoholic version again called? I forget.
The Twisted
Andy
Tea?
Daly? I think it was Andy Daly. I don't know.
An Andy Daly. That's hilarious.
I think that I'm probably wrong. Drag my ass, listeners and watchers, if you're hearing this. And if you're listening to this, well, you probably got a phone in your pocket. Why don't you go over to Quack 12 Apple Podcast page, give us 5 stars, leave a comment, helps other people find this podcast, helps us do it for free. And if you really want to help us do it for free, why don't you give us money over at Quack 12 Patreon for $5 measly dollars a month? You get hundreds of hours of Oregon Duck themed entertainment. But enough plugging, Aaron. We got plenty to talk about.
Do tell.
First of all, I do like this.
Okay.
So back in the day, all right, Joey Heisman. This is still the time when Joey Harrington, he was known but not quite nationally known. Oregon felt like certainly not the national brand it would become today, but it felt like an up-and-coming, a plucky one. They had a promising season. They had a good team, obviously, and then they had a great season and a great team, you found out. But before then, the Oregon Athletic Department had the great idea to put up a big old billboard, Times Square, that just said Joey Harrington, crossed out the Harrington, said Joey Heisman. Just calling their shot. He didn't get the Heisman, but just the audacity of it. And it was, especially at that time, it felt like brand new. People are still talking about it. Even the haters who think it's like gaudy, they were still talking about it. You know what I mean? Well, we're keeping it up, my man. Keeping up the tradition. At Zachary C. Neal, who's a good Twitter follow, by the way, retweeted, or I guess showed a photo from at the guy Olson, so there's someone else, but there's plenty of photos of this thing. Went up in New York, baby, Bodacious. We're keeping the tradition live for Bo Nix. They put up this big old billboard, more like a bow board, just claiming his greatness, trying to get in for the Heisman. And I gotta love it. In New York, baby. That's the thing that I love about it, is that it's like the amount of people going. Same thing with Joey Harrington, even more so because there wasn't a precedent for it. Just people looking up, it's like, why the hell is there an ad for one Oregon football player? Like Oregon, I don't even think a lot of these people can't even say Oregon, the correct way. Oregon, an Oregon Duck. It's just to get it.
Wait, I thought
it's
Oregon
great
was the
advertising.
correct way.
No, Oregon. Like what's in your body, you know what I mean? That's how I say it.
Organ.
I'm constantly wrong.
An
but
organ is in my body.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm filled with organs.
That is correct. We're all filled with organ today.
That's how you say it? Organ?
Yeah. How have you been
Because
saying
I
it
always
this
said
whole time?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Oregon? Or
not-
Oregon? Or
Oregon.
Oregon? Oregon.
What is this? 5 years, 7 years into this podcast, and
brother.
this is we finally got how do you say
Hey.
Oregon out of the way.
Well, look,
You don't know.
I was
That's the
thinking
problem.
about something. I don't know. Maybe this is a bit too off topic, but I was thinking about something.
Well, what do you think of this? What do you think of this billboard here? Bodacious.
Oh.
Is it too bodacious? Is it too braggadocious? Do you not like it?
It doesn't make sense to me that it's in New York City unless that's where the Heisman Committee is located. Is that what's going on?
I believe it
here?
is actually. But
Okay, so
either
then that
way,
makes sense.
it's
who
really
on the
just because
committee
it's
is
New
gonna-
York. It's just because it's New York. You're not trying to sway them even. You're just trying to be like, tune in to Oregon. Hear the name Oregon football. Hear the name Bo Nix, because we want eyes on us. We want like more. And it tended to work. Worked with Joey. Oh, well, it didn't get him the Heisman, but it got him
Here's a
known.
question.
People still talk about it, What's
Here's
that?
a question. Mm-hmm. Is there a college team from the New York area that has a strong followership? And so now we're like plunking ourselves into the Big Ten a little bit more.
That's the funny thing, man. New York really...
We're pre-ordering, if you will.
New York really doesn't have many good college teams for football at all. Like none come to mind. I'm kind of an idiot.
That makes sense.
Who said that? But Rutgers is New Jersey, and it feels like, oh, that's close enough. But they don't really play the college football game. I'm looking right now. Cornell, Army is obviously in West Point, New York. Colgate, Columbia. These are like not actual people we pay attention to. Stony Brook University, we played them.
Yeah.
You remember them.
I do.
Syracuse. Yeah, so they're more of into basketball, honestly. It's pretty surprising. And I hear that...
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You need a lot of room for football.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Really got that.
I heard, though, that New York is really still a fun college football place, because if you go around wearing an Oregon hat, you may see a Washington fan that hates you. You may see someone wearing like a Georgia hat. You have something to talk about how badly they kicked our ass. I'm sure there's at least, I already know this, I believe, at least one Ducks bar in New York. There may be like multiple, just because there's so many.
That's cool.
You can go to a bunch of different fun college football bars. Like, it sounds like
it's the melting pot of college sports, Adam. Everybody knows that.
Is. Even though they don't have like strong. Syracuse is fun to root for, but I mean, they're not a powerhouse. I think they've won some championships way back in the day or something like that. I don't know. I'm probably wrong, but I love this move. I love it for Bo. It's definitely a reboot. We always love our reboots, and this is definitely one of those. But it's still fun. I really like it. And LaMichael James came out on Twitter and was saying something basically like, "Damn, I didn't get something like this." And then Joey Harrington responded, being like, "I never went to the Rose Bowl. Want to trade?" Stuff like that. Fun, just some fun Duck banter.
Oh man, that's a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I liked that storyline. That made me feel good. Yeah. The AP poll came out, my man. These mean nothing, but they kind of mean something, right? It's easier to get in number one if you start in the top 25. That's for sure. That's about all I think about. Now, number one, of course, is Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs, the very, very same one that just completely dismantled us and most other teams on their way to the second straight national championship. Yep. Michigan is number two. Apparently, our soon-to-be brother, Michigan. The Wolverines, okay. Then Ohio State, number three. Again, we love them now, apparently. Just next door, I guess. Number four, Alabama. Now, to get into the Pac-12, I hate this. Number 6, USC. Number 6, USC. Damn, I want to beat them. They're coming to Eugene this year. That is quite the game, man. I'm excited for it.
Well, the joy is that we're about to go into a new space with them where we get to continue to future kick their booties.
Mm-hmm. You know what's even better, Aaron? They tried to prevent us from getting in that league.
Wow.
They straight up, apparently. I mean, this is the scuttlebutt. They were the ones being like, no, we shouldn't let Oregon into the Big Ten. Nope, not Oregon. And it's probably has to do with, like, Oregon, if they're not in the Big Ten, they are straight up losing on recruits because they want to go to the biggest challenge. In Big Ten, compared to the freaking Pac-12 or Pac-4 or whatever it would have been, you're just not going against the same thing. NFL people will care a little bit less about it. The average person who's watching the sport will care less about it because you're just not playing against Big Ten teams. So, yeah, it was. They wanted us to stop, and actually, immediately after, not immediately, but Dakota Fields, a cornerback from 2024, flipped from committing to USC to Oregon. And he even said one of the reasons was, he's like, the second they said they went to the Big Ten, like that they were officially going to the Big Ten, then I knew I was going to Oregon. But I wasn't going to go to Oregon if they were going to stay in the Pac-12. So it's like, it's cutthroat. It sucks the Pac-12 had to die. But this is the reason why Oregon and Washington specifically left, is because they're just like, well, we want to be the best. And we like it's going to be a lot harder to get the best players if we're here. It blows, but yeah. That is fun, though. I do love that. Back to the AP poll, though. So it's going to take a little while. Number 10, who'd have thunk it? Washington. Number 10 is Washington. They're ahead of us.
Okay.
Are you afraid of Washington? They beat us last year, Aaron. They beat us last year in heartfelt tough fashion.
You know, last week we talked about how maybe this rivalry thing should be put to pasture because we're going to be going into a, brave new world together, and so maybe it's time to partnership.
I disagreed, but yes, we did talk about that.
Yeah, but maybe I like the Huskies, dude.
Oh, what a conundrum. This is
Maybe that's okay though, right?
We're the odd couple now. We're the odd couple.
Well, no. I can love both, right?
Oof. Oh man. This is, you know what? Even though I don't understand it, I'm from an older generation. I'll never change my ways. I accept you, my son.
Okay.
You're still my co-host, and I still love you. And I'll read a book about it.
We're all about to become the freshman rookies, if you will, in a big space. So I feel like maybe the good idea is we work together to take out the other teams.
This is like an action movie. You're the guy trying to get all the tribes to be like, we must band together to stop the evil robot, thing together. Put aside your differences. And I am one of the people that's like, fuck no. I hate Washington and USC more than any of these other teams. UCLA I don't really care about, but I definitely don't want to band together with them.
No, just the Pacific Northwest. California can go shove it. They're the ones who caused this whole problem in the first place.
It is true.
They can eat turds. I don't care about them. But now they forced us and the Huskies to go into this new situation. Granted, maybe we wanted it anyways. But, they kind of forced our hands into it, I say. So therefore, eat turds, Hollyweird.
There you go. Barely got that in there. I agree. I have to agree with you, buddy. Well, I don't agree with you, actually, because I'm not going to ban with the fucking Huskies. We got to get Gaby Lucas on, and we'll hash out this idea.
Yep.
I don't like it, but I'll at least come to the table.
I think it's time for us to cross the borders and erase the borders.
Whoa. Imagine all the people. Number 14, can you believe it, is Utah. Utah is, Big 12's own now, Utah.
That's weird.
Actually, to be a Utah fan, I'm imagining they're somewhat in the same situation that we are, where it's like you're sad that the Pac-12 died, but also they were part of that conference, the Pacific Conference, less than like most of the other members. Like they were one of the last two to add. So maybe they're even more excited. It's just like, okay, they're dead. We beat the hell out of that conference a couple of times here, to win it all. Proved we're the best there. Now we're going to the Big 12. Prove we're the best there. Still got that chip on their shoulder, Yeah. I'd imagine they're pretty stoked. I do
Where
not
are they
want to
going?
root. They're going to the Big 12, baby.
Right.
Going to be playing the likes of Texas Tech and Kansas State and Oklahoma State and UCF and even BYU, which they got to love that. I would assume they got to love that. And Colorado, and Arizona, and Arizona State.
That's a fun one, dude.
It actually will be. I'm glad we're not there. I'm glad we're not there because that's clearly still a step below the Big Ten and the SEC. I think that is very obvious.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's just that those two conferences, they just, not to use the SECs, they just love it. They put more money into it. They care more. Let's be real. Yes. So 14 for Utah. That is kind of cool. And I'm not going to root for them this year, but when they're in the Big 12, I can absolutely see rooting for them. They're plucky, And it'll be really funny, all the diehard Big 12 fans, when they're like, so some Pac-12 school comes in and they just take over immediately now that Texas and Oklahoma are gone. Then below that, number 15, Oregon, I actually like this. You don't want too much hype. Like, if we were number 5, I'd be like, oh, that can only be bad for us. But number 15 is still high up there. It still, makes you a little angry.
Sure.
I like it. I like it a lot. What do you think? Number 15. So many Pac-12 teams, too.
15 for the Ducks feels good.
Yeah.
It shows that We have nowhere to go but up.
I love it. Or down. Or stay the
No,
same.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think it's I think there's a lot more factors than just last season that are going into that, obviously, because conspiracy is my thing.
Yeah.
But
okay. We
I
should
feel
say this
like
for the new
our
watchers really
schedule-
quickly.
Yeah.
Really quickly, if you don't mind. Aaron is not so much into the watching the games, knowing the players, knowing the history of the teams, the location of the teams, knowing anything about the sport per se. However, we sound wonderful because of this wonderful man. And not only that,
Debatable.
more importantly, what makes this the Quack 12 podcast is we got to lock down on the conspiracies of these sports. And Aaron
Adam,
is well diverse in that.
I think what our loyal listeners do know, and what our new listeners will come to understand, is that I have a unique connection to the universe that allows me to see instances inside the games that have a higher yielding opportunity of disclosure. Whatever that I just said.
Yes, what he just said is exactly what you needed to hear. That O behind him, that is actually a third eye for Aaron.
Yeah.
By the way,
I'm
yeah,
like Raiden.
sorry to cut you off.
No,
number
that's fine.
number 18, Oregon State. I love that.
That
so
seems
much.
a little high.
I mean, I think so too. I think they're really they lost quite a bit of what made them great last year, and if their defense doesn't really hold up to what it was, I think it could be a rough season for them. But Jonathan Smith, Oregon State, I am still rooting for them. I'm not even. I mean, I bet you some people turned us off when one of our co-hosts was talking about how great Washington is. I think we're going to lose the other half that are watching still, because I want to say Oregon State, I'm rooting for them so ducking hard. Because they're truly what college football kind of you wish it still was. You know, it wasn't just so cutthroat, so you're either putting in billions or you're a dead meat. You know, they are plucky, they're well coached, and they may get shafted here pretty soon. You know, Oregon State, Wazoo, Stanford, Cal. Stanford, Cal probably a little less because they're Stanford and Cal. Those are very good institutions, but and someone will want them. You know, they are still good. They're good schools, but Oregon State and Wazoo they may be Mountain West or whatever the Pac Mountain West thing becomes. Or I don't know. I'd almost be happy if they won it all this year. Obviously, I want to win it all, but I'd be rooting die
Those
hard
words.
for them.
Wow.
Yes.
I see. Even
We're
I
rooting
don't
for our
want
rivals.
that for
What is
the-
going on?
I don't want that for the Huskies. Even you went.
I want
beyond
the
where I'm
Huskies to
willing
lose every
go.
game. I want the Huskies to lose every game. I don't want injuries, but I just want it to be proven that they're so bad and embarrassing that they lose every single game.
No,
and then Kalen
that's
DeBoer goes
rude.
somewhere else, and they
Look, I
promote the
think
special teams
that-
guy.
I think the team that deserves to lose every game is obviously to be determined, because I haven't yet gotten to touch
Next
that
week.
part of the season. Yeah.
Next week is the picks episode, everybody. Get
Yeah.
ready for it.
I'm
We're
loving
going to
it.
hopefully get a real good guest for that one, too. But so those are all the Pac-12 schools. Number 18, Oregon State. I do love seeing them up there. I don't know.
make a
I like
prediction?
it. Let's hear it. I mean, we're doing a lot of predictions next week, but if you want to do a little taster, sounds good.
Sure. This is just a general. I say by week 5 in the season, we're ranked number 7.
By week 5, we're ranked number 7. That'd be something. That probably means maybe one loss, maybe, or undefeated. Probably undefeated.
I'm talking about the best kind of goose egg you can have, baby. 0 losses.
I love it. Well, that's a good little taster, a little rat bite. Let's get into some other fun news. I actually really like this. Oregon track star Micah Williams joins football team. That is right. in the great tradition of LaMichael James, DeAnthony Thomas, Devin Allen, we got a track star. Well, a lot of those guys were actually more football turn track. I think Devin Allen is kind of reversed, but I think like LaMichael James was someone who's just like, oh, I can also do track because I'm a ridiculous athlete. Mm-hmm. I also think DeAnthony Thomas was a little more football focused. However,
I'm sure it pays better to be football focused.
Absolutely. I think even with Michael Williams, there has to be, because like when I brought this up with my girlfriend, she did say she's much more into track than I am. She loves track. And she was saying like, it's like, oh, the risk of it. Like it's surprising that the coach was able to, wanted to do that. But Jerry Schumacher, the head track and field coach for Oregon, he completely gave them the green light. And I think that's because partially it's not only is it good for Williams if it all works out. Who's to say? Maybe it won't work out. But if it does work out, that is good press for the track team. Yeah. And that is good because people would literally go to see a football player, run track even more so than somebody who's not. I hope I'm not we are offending every single fan we have.
So sorry. I thought you were saying a track star is coming to the football team, but it's
I am.
Oh,
no,
okay, yeah.
I'm saying in the past there's been more football players kind of turn track a little bit, but this is absolutely a track star from Portland, Oregon, which you got to love. Will suit up as a receiver, maybe even returning in the return game a little bit. You'd be a little bit afraid, but it's getting safer and safer. So Williams, he had a time of 6.49 seconds in the 60 meters, which is absolutely amazing, and 9.99 seconds in the 100 meters last season. Like that is nutso speed.
Adam, I'm tapping into something amazing here.
What's
and
that?
I have to share it.
Okay.
This kid will, in the same year, be drafted first round pick into the NFL. And will also win an Olympic medal in track and field.
Holy hell, dude. I love this. Save some of these picks, dear Lord. We gotta remember.
When it comes, and I just have to allow it to flow through me.
Now, there's no quite good time for this, but I mean, it absolutely should be mentioned. We have
is this bad news? Sounds like
a death in the Duck family, unfortunately.
What?
Just don't want to get too involved with it, but definitely want to actually take a moment to talk about Herman Ho Ching, who played for the football team in like 1998, 1999 season. Did have some really fun individual runs where he just bursted through the line, and he actually died over Clackamas River, so like in the Portland area. It's just another one of those unfortunate stories when something that a lot of people do, and it cannot be a problem whatsoever, and then a river or running water can really be a deadly thing. So I don't want to get too involved in anything. I don't want it to be like a PSA thing or anything like that.
He drowned?
Definitely, yeah, he did drown. And just want to, our hearts go out to his friends and family. All right.
No, that sucks. That's terrible news.
I agree. Yeah, no easy transition from that. But the Ducks non-conference schedule is might as well talk about that right after that. So the Oregon's women's basketball. There's no easy way to transition. We should now think of like a somber Quack 12 commercial to like hit whenever we have death news, and then we can play that. It'll lull people, and then we'll get into the next thing. But unfortunately, that's becoming a more and more useful thing to have. We started off with a team that I know personally. Southern Oregon University.
Okay.
From Ashland, Oregon's own.
What are we talking
Festival.
about right now?
Oregon women's basketball. This is their non-con schedule. They just announced it.
Got it.
Now, I don't need to list every single team because there's a lot, and a lot of them I don't even know. I mean, we certainly know the Northern Arizona Axewomen. Maybe they gender that. I know it's usually the Axemen, but no, I don't know what it is now. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Grand Canyon. Like, these are teams we should just blow through. At Portland. Then we get some big ones. At Baylor. That's a big one. That's a scary one. And then maybe like versus Oklahoma State is the only one that. Those are like two where it's like if those were the two losses, wouldn't be stoked, but it's all understandable. Almost any other losses, I'm just going to be dumping more gas onto the maybe Killy Graves ain't the answer fire.
Oh, wow, that's right. Man, we took a long enough break
Yeah.
that I kind of forgot that man is on our radar.
He's on the hot seat. I'll tell you that much. For us personally, if we were in charge.
So you're saying
I don't think he really
out of
is.
conference games, we should only lose 2.
I would say honestly, we should even be favored versus Oklahoma State because it's at home and it's later in the season. We should be a little bit more gelled. So I would say the only actually where you're like, well, yeah, we were going to lose that game would be Baylor, at Baylor. And if we beat them, then I'm going to be incredibly excited. But
So
at Baylor's a tough ask.
How many games do we have to lose non-conference for you to be like, and that's too many?
I would
3?
say, 3, there's a bunch of reasons why you could. There's always, like there has been a lot of unfortunate injury luck. Maybe that's what it all comes down to. Maybe Kelly Graves is like, would be doing amazing if he didn't have truly some terrible luck these last couple of seasons. But if 3, there's depending on the 3, but 3 would be like, oh, this is rough. 4, I'm hitting the like fire button like it's gonna save my life. Yeah, that's
What if
that's
we
how I
have
feel
one
about that.
key player injured? 4?
Like Filipina Che, I think is really the key player.
A secondary
nuts.
key player.
I'll tell you this, like, again, we've lost enough, like, India Rogers and Tahina Pau Pau.
Mm-hmm.
Even all the promotional stuff that's coming out, you can really start to notice that all the official Oregon women's basketball stuff, all the articles coming out previewing them, it's all a picture of Filipina Che. Because it's like, well, she's the one that actually played last year as a starter, and she's who we've got the most pictures of. And there's probably still in the background like, oh, there's India Rogers, there's Filipina. So there's Tahina Pau Pau. It's just, and it's kind of the same thing that's been biting us in the butt with that team for a while, is that we're having so much turnover of really good talent. And when the really good talent is playing for the Oregon Ducks, they're not looking very good a lot of the times.
So
I don't
one
know.
key player injury 4 is still not fireable. You'd say maybe 5.
I think four losses with this non-con, even with one serious injury to a really good player, I would still be not optimistic. I would be feeling pretty bad.
Okay. That's all I needed to know.
There you go. Now, for some award watch lists, we'll get into this before the commercial break for the football season 2023. Many came out. I'd like to shout out Ducks Wire with the article Award Watch List Littered with Oregon Ducks, just for putting all these together because it was a very handy resource. Please go. And Ducks Wire in general, they do a lot of good stuff. But Walter Camp Player of the Year, that is literally given to the Collegiate Football Player of the Year, is running back Bucky Irving and QB Bo Nix. Hell yeah. Bodacious. As is the Maxwell Award, which again goes to the best player in college football. There's a lot of weird, they just cover the same thing. QB Bo Nix is on that. The Blitnikoff Award, as we all know, goes to the best receiver. Troy Franklin is on that. Troy Franklin getting a lot of buzz. A lot of people really circling him as like their favorite Duck this season. I really hope so far he's lived up to every year. His expectations, he's exceeded them almost. He's been a very good receiver, especially, and he's got a lot of chemistry with Bo Nix at this point. Now, the Outland Trophy goes to the offensive or defensive lineman of the year. That's very fun. Only Josh Connerly Jr. is on that. Hopefully, we can mix it up a little bit there. The Bronco Nagurski Trophy goes to the top defensive player in college football, Brandon Dorless, another fan favorite. Hopefully, we'll really live up to it. Brandon Dorless and Evan Williams, brother Bennett Williams. It'd be great if we had a safety win that award. And then the Werfel Trophy. Yes, the Werfel Trophy. Who best combines exemplary community service with leadership achievement. So, honestly, maybe even the most important one is actually cornerback Triquez Bridges. We got to see what kind of good works he's doing. There's plenty more. You know, I don't want to list literally every single one. I mean, Terrence Ferguson for the John Mackey Award. Center Jackson Powers Johnson for the not only the best name award, but the Remington Trophy, the best center in college football. QB Bo Nix is on quite a bit of these, as is Bucky Irving and Noah Whittington for the Doak Walker Award. That'd be amazing. I mean, that's one you won. Doak Walker for the best running back. And the Butkus Award. Hey, we just talked about Butkus last week. Yeah. Goes to the best linebacker, Justin Jacobs, who actually, transferred over here, I believe, from Iowa. So, Big Ten. Big Ten bound, Big Ten staying. My man, I'm excited. That was a lot to talk about. I believe we have a commercial break. After these messages, we'll be right back. Aw, what's wrong there, young sports fan?
My life is falling apart. My family left me because I won't shut the up about my favorite team, the Oregon Ducks.
What you need is to join the rest of the flock at the Quack 12 podcast.
Sounds great. Is it some kind of drug? Will an eighth be enough? Because I'm jonesing really bad.
No, it's not a drug. It's even better. It's the world's greatest Oregon Ducks podcast.
So do I snort it?
Visit quack12podcast.com to find free weekly episode and links to the Quack 12 Patreon.
I'm sold. Who needs a family with drugs like this? Quack, quack.
Oops, I clicked on it twice. It was almost seamless. Almost absolutely
seamless. I started messing with my fan because it's starting to really warm up in here with all these studio lights everywhere. Give me one. You get us into our next segment. I'm just going to have to do this real quick.
All right. I'll probably edit this out because I got some specific shit I want to talk to you about because I think it's fun.
I'm here. Okay. Let's make magic in the studio.
Word. And we're back on Quack.
Quack, quack.
Aaron, well, that sounded like a bass slide almost. You moved the microphone, but it sounded like a brrr. Probably just to me, which means this is probably bad podcast to bring it up. But
it's just
I
to
did.
Me?
Is it just to me? That's my impression of Mario as an observational comic. Is it just to me?
Mario Seinfeld.
Mario Seinfeld. There you go. That's something.
That's something.
This is also something, someone directly calling you out for some bullshit you said on YouTube. That is right. At Brian Alvarez 6324 said 7 days ago, for Aaron, Caesar was definitely not redistributing land or wealth to the average Roman citizen. Ha ha. It was mostly for purges of political enemies. Some of the seized wealth was used to reward some of his followers from his military and political campaigns, but it was mostly for his own benefit. Caesar was fabulously wealthy at the height of his power. Do you have a response to that, Aaron?
I mean... No, because literally, I watched one TikTok video and went, yep.
That's great.
So, I love this
great.
I love this new intel. I'm definitely glad I now have this newer perspective. it kind of makes me want to look into it a bit more just so I can like actually know what the hell that was all about for real. But I don't think I care enough.
And I love this. I love this new segment called "Duck His Ass," where someone drags you.
So, what's this username's name again?
Brian Alvarez.
He is now the new version of history, I believe.
Okay.
Before, I didn't know anything about the Caesar thing. I saw one TikTok video and I went, "That's the truth." And then now I'm going to go, "Well, this is the truth." So, congratulations.
I love it.
He's correct. That's what happened.
I love it so much. I had to remember to. I'm so glad I remember.
I love that. That's great.
Anyways,
look, I think something. I mean, yeah, for all the new listeners, again, I've said it a few times randomly, but just be aware, everything that comes out of my mouth is actually coming out of my ass.
That's great. That's great.
Anyways,
right.
Let's party.
Let's get back into what we started last week. Which
is
our review, our scouting report of this freaking conference we're about to join, the so-called Big Ten, that has like 300 schools in it. And we're just sticking to the name. We're sticking to everything, including this segment's name.
Bottom 11.
It's the bottom 11, bitch. That is right. We're doing the scouting report for the new bottom 11, a.k.a. the Big Ten. Aaron, we got a lot to talk about. This is really, actually, I should say, this is for people that don't know that much about the Big Ten, as in know nothing about it. Absolutely. This is me, too. I had to learn basic information about this conference because I purposely made it. I only wanted to know about the Pac-12. I wanted to hyper-focus on the Pac-12, and now the Pac-12 is dead, and I got adopted by Big Daddy Big Ten, and I got to learn all about I got to do my research just to know the most basic shit about it. So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. And we learned all about the East last time. Just a little reminder, Aaron. We talked about Northwestern in Illinois. We talked about Nebraska. We talked about Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Purdue with Purdue Pete. We loved the Boilermakers. We loved that train.
Yep.
Now it's time to get into the by far the tougher conference. Yes.
Who was the double mascot team?
Oh, that's right. Let me look. I got it here. Don't worry. Oh yeah, that was Purdue. Because they had... Well, actually, I think there's... No. Nebraska had Little Red and Herbie Husker.
That's it.
And
that's the one.
Purdue had the Boilermaker and the Boilermaker Special, which is the train, and then they also had Purdue Pete. But I think...
Right.
Little Red and Herbie Husker was... And Nebraska, they really care. They really care about their team, and that's what I'm looking for here. That's what I want. If we're going to kill the Pac-12, I at least want to be going into more... engaging, exciting situation. Am I right, Aaron?
Absolutely. I was just going to say truer words have never been spoken.
Thank you, sir. Well, let's get into it then. We're talking about Rutgers. We're starting at the bottom of what is the tougher, stronger part of the Big Ten West. Now,
well, I gotta tell you, that night there's not very intimidating.
I like that it is a night. I don't see knights very often as logos, as mascots, and so I like that there's a knight involved into it all of a sudden.
Okay.
I think that's I like that. I'll say that much. Now, some of their best player, or what I would say is their best player, is Ray Rice, which is pretty recent. I mean, usually when we're looking at best players of all times, they're black and white photos, but Ray Rice is very much loved. Played for the Baltimore Ravens, and they still love him there. He's still a young man.
So
he's still 36.
From the early aughts or the 90s?
I believe so. His college career, 2005 to 2007, actually.
Okay.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, he played he won a Super Bowl, baby. Like, yeah.
Wow.
But the more recent the best player is, it always makes you think a little bit like, are they not that good? They play in, I believe it's called Shea Stadium. I think it's Shy Stadium. It's an acronym, but I'm new to this conference, y'all. And of course we got this guy.
I'm just zero intimidation. I'm not.
What do you think of Sir Henry? What do you think of Rutgers, which is based in, get ready for it, it's the national joke, New Brunswick, New Jersey.
I don't know anything about New Brunswick. I've never been there.
You ever been Jersey?
Yeah, of course. This night screams amusing at best.
I'll tell you this. Yes.
That's not the best photo. I'd love to see the outside of the stadium in the day.
I know a lot of these
surroundings
photos
look like.
I'm not about to pay for anyone's photo or anything, so I'm going for big old public domain, which ends up being very
I will say,
same picture, but yeah.
I will say I'm glad Ray Rice is not on the team now.
Oh yeah.
That Knight is going to get made a fool of by the Duck. Let's just say that. Made a fool, Adam.
And one thing I'm starting to really not like, I've been noticing looking at these mascots, so many of them are just got those, like, the big, blocky, beefy, Midwestern head. You know, like big white, like I work at a Campbell soup factory kind of look to them. Like the 50s ideal man. And it's just the same expression, same face for every single one.
You hit it on the head. It's this it's animated but with a level of realism in it that I find the mix of to be unnecessary.
Yeah. I definitely
would prefer you go full cartoon.
Yeah. For Sir Henry, I would definitely think it'd be cooler. Also, like Henry, it's probably named after some like donator Henry. Like I didn't find that. I'm sure you can. Again, barely any research on this, y'all. You're all at the Quack 12 podcast. You know what we're doing. But I would much more like just the actual Knight kind of look, like the closed down mask. That would look better. Just really go with the Knight. This guy just looks a little bit more like Woody from Toy Story is pretending to be a Knight.
All you really need to do is have a guy walking around in a suit of armor. And we have so much tech these days, you can make a suit of armor that A, looks super cool, and B, is highly breathable in these hot, arid conditions. You know what I mean?
I don't want that.
God, this man is in a giant thing of wool.
That's true.
That's gonna suck.
I actually disagree. I want full-on metal as realistic to the, as time period realistic as possible. I want them dressed as an actual Knight.
What we should do is have some kind of new Robo-Duck-esque costume for when we play this team, Rutgers, I'm learning.
Yes, Rutgers.
So that we can show them what a good Knight costume looks like.
New Brunswick, we're coming for you. And then we're immediately leaving after the game and hanging out in New York. All right.
Rutgers is in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Oh, man. Now this is pretty interesting.
The Indiana Hoosiers. We all know the Hoosiers.
Wow.
Have you been to Bloomington, Indiana? I think I've asked you this before on this very podcast, but once again, we'll do it.
No, I don't think so.
I talked to someone recently at my mysterious day job that was from Bloomington, Indiana, and they did say they did not like it, and they were glad to leave, and that there's nothing to do there.
The one person I know from, the one person I know from Indiana, I think had the same feeling.
Yeah, that's what I hear about it. Their football team also is no good, so there's that too. I guess it'd be fun to let's go check out Indianapolis. I've never been there, but I'm not. Have you ever been to Indianapolis? I don't know.
Yeah, I have been to Indianapolis.
Is it fun? Do you like it? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to this trip.
That's once you hit a certain size in a city, there's always going to be some kind of artist community that exists therein. And as long as you're able to find that, you're able to dip into the way they do their, cultural stuff.
I get you.
Right.
Yeah. So
I'll
let's
say,
see.
I love the strength of their logo thing. It's
Yeah,
freaking amazing.
it's an I, it's the U, it forms a trident.
It also looks slightly Masonic, so it's got strong
Oh, yeah.
cult appeal.
That it definitely does.
Look at this stud muffin.
Pete Pieho. I know, doesn't that just look like a classic film or something like that? I just love the
It does.
Pete Piehouse. I'll let you know he was an American football player and coach. He grew up in Orlando, Florida, actually.
Interesting.
Played for the Eagles as a coach, though. He coached like Tulane, Richmond Rebels. Yeah, good guy. I don't know. I don't give a shit about him. And then the Indiana University Memorial Stadium, of course. Another memorial stadium. And now
what?
it's just the war, probably. It's usually the war, World War I, World War II, or the Cold War. You just name it, and it's because then it's easier for people to donate if it's like, oh, it's also a memorial to the war. We'll always.
I love it
this.
if it was just like Bill and Margaret Jessup.
Yes, absolutely, like the Phil Knight kind of connection here. Now, Aaron, they actually do not currently have a mascot. I mean, people from Indiana are called Hoosiers. Apparently, it's debated why they're called Hoosiers. So, but yes, they're called Hoosiers. Indiana, they are the Indiana Hoosiers. They've tried some mascots, but as of right now, there's nothing really because we had this bison. Now, I'm looking at this bison here. I thought it was a real fucking bison. I'm not going to lie. It's not a real bison.
Looks like the stuff of nightmares.
It really does, because it's also like I couldn't really find a better picture of it, but it was like
that's the best picture.
It's a big tube. There's like no arms or legs really. It's like a big tube.
Oh,
it's freaky.
So there's not even anyone in it.
There is someone in it, I believe,
and it just walks around with no legs or arms.
It did for a little bit. Yeah, I don't like it.
I love
and
this.
then so they tried it
Bring
again.
It back.
They were like, let's try someone else. Let's actually build a guy mascot thing. Let's call him Mr. Hoosier Pride.
Okay.
Don't like
Who
it.
is your pride?
This is Mr. Hoosier Pride.
Okay.
And they did not like him. Well, I kind of love him now. I wish he was still around, but the general populace, the general, Indiana Hoosier loving fans did not like this guy, so he did not. He went the way of the Robo-Duck.
That.
I like him. I like that his face is very Jim Henson. He looks like one of the guys in the
thing. Yeah, the whole.
He looks like one of the old guys being like, oh, ho, 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 ho. Fat guy. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
I like him. Mr. Hoosier Pride.
Is he also a ref in disguise? What are we looking at here? Do they have stripes on their uniforms?
Yeah, they're in the stripes a lot of the time. So that's probably red and white stripes.
I love that.
Yeah, I like him. But he's dead. Maybe we should take him. What if we just, got Mr. Hoosier Pride and put a hat on him? He still has the eye on his shirt, but he crosses it out. And we're just like, he's an Oregon fan now. Maybe they didn't copyright him because they didn't like him.
I would definitely say we need to bring that by the Hoosiers before we try it, because just like in, turf situations, when a new gang wants to move into a new territory, you need to make sure that you clear it with the gang that currently owns said territory. Otherwise, shots come over the overpass. You know what I'm saying?
Let's start with the preemptive shot, is what I'm saying. Now,
wow. You just want to start a war.
Hell yeah, against them, yeah.
I guess that's the American way.
The only way I'm going over there is I do like the movie The Hoosiers, right? Or I think it's called Hoosiers. We all know. Gene Hackman movie.
Yeah.
I would see a basketball game for the history aspect of it there. That would be fun. The Ducks go to Indiana, see them play the Hoosiers. That sounds fun.
Doesn't that movie have something weird going on?
Not that I remember. Gene Hackman hooks up with a very young lady, but that's happening every day.
But don't they go play I don't remember this movie.
Oh,
enough to
I
study.
think they're an all-white school, if I'm
Yes.
remembering. It's definitely
Yes.
of the time, yeah.
Like traditionally, they're holding on to that tradition. I think it's questionable.
Oh, not right.
Oh,
I don't think
groovy.
they're a racist team per se right now. But a lot of these Midwest schools are whiter just because it's like the people around, the local population is so much whiter. But I don't know. So is Eugene. Here we go. Michigan State.
Okay.
Now this is a logo.
Trojans?
This is where you recognize. Yeah, exactly. The Spartans, actually. Spartans. It is kind of fun. I just actually put that together. That there's the Spartans and the Trojans will be playing against each other. That is. They don't have a name for that. That's gotta be a thing.
I would hope so.
Like one of them plays in the like I don't know what you call it. The Trojans play in the Coliseum, so it almost seems like you could have called it like the Coliseum, but that seems to favor. I don't know. That's very fun. Very similar logos too.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I have memories of them too. Twice we played them. Once with Marcus Mariota on our way to the national championship. This was a huge non-con game. They came to Eugene, Oregon. Some really memorable, especially when he like shuffled past. He avoided pressure, barely got this little toss over to Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman gets the first down, and that was definitely one of the most a wonderful play. And then actually, our very own Vernon Adams Jr. the next season, a very up and down. I mean, that was the season where we ended up losing to TCU, blowing that 31-0 lead. But it was a low, but it was also kind of a high. Week 2, Vernon Adams Jr. with his broken finger goes out there and barely loses to Michigan State. So I definitely have some memories with them, and I have watched them over the years, especially going against Michigan. Some pretty good games, so I recognize this team quite a bit. Bubba Smith is by far I would say their best player of all time. He was a football defensive end, and I just like the guy. Not only that, but you probably actually know him from a different thing. I bet. I don't know, but Aaron, are you a fan of the Police Academy movies?
Yeah. Oh, is he Hightower?
Yeah. He's
Hell
Moses
yeah.
Hightower. Yeah. But
Great.
before he was Moses Hightower, which is nice too. Isn't it funny? Like, okay, Aaron, I'd like for you to really run with this, or at least look into this. Tell me if I'm too far out conspiracy-wise.
Probably not.
Is it possible that
Yes.
USC... All right, I like that. USC and Michigan State are somehow like two like mirror versions of each other, because it's like both are historic programs. USC's had more historic wins and stuff like that, but one's Trojan, one's Spartan. One has a famous movie, football player turned actor in comedies, O.J. Simpson, and then Michigan State has Bubba Smith, who has not killed anybody. Fortunately, seems like a very nice guy, actually. And he was in the Police Academy movies. This can't just all be coincidence, Aaron. This can't just
Adam,
all be
it
coincidence.
absolutely is not coincidence. You're totally correct.
I mean, he was also in Miller Lite commercials. Like, yeah. And seems like a fun guy. Absolutely great football player. Played 9 years in the NFL. He played in multiple Super Bowls. Yeah, he's a badass. I really like Bubba Smith, actually. I just learned about him in this, but I really liked learning about him. And they play at Spartan Stadium, which is a pretty looking stadium, honestly.
I like it.
I'm down to experience this Midwest cold too. I don't mind the cold. I kind of like it. Yeah, I may not like it when I'm there. Yeah, no, I prefer it too. And then we got this baby.
What is going on with this guy?
This is Sparty.
Yeah, he is.
Like, it's the same face. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, they
Let's
all look
get
like
its body. Yeah, let's get its body.
they all look like Midwest cops. All of these mascots look like Midwest cops to me. I'm going to say like small town cops. Like when you get pulled over because they see your out of state plates, this is the face you're going to see.
This is the guy you see after it's like 2 a.m., you're leaving the bar because everything's shutting down.
You're wasted as
And
hell.
if
You're about
a
to
woman,
drive.
your number one fear is that this dude's about to show you his woo-woo.
I get it,
This
man.
dude's
I mean,
just
I can
looking to
almost
show off
see
his
it.
woo-woo.
I can almost see it, what he's wearing.
Yeah, he's tipping out.
Yeah, he's about to tip out. It's surprising he's not tipping out. He probably should be tipping out, honestly.
I'm coming
I don't like
out,
him,
so
but
you better get this party started.
keep it up. We may need to make that a drop that we regularly play, even. Okay.
Yeah. Whoa.
Maryland.
Whoa.
I love this
Look
team.
out, boys.
They're kind of terrible, if I'm being real. But as far as football is concerned, basketball they're better. But
Snapping turtles, please.
it's a specific kind of turtle. I'm gonna
Cool.
look this up. It's a terrapin. I know that's a word for turtle, but
Oh yeah, Terrapin Station.
you got it.
And I
Oh
hope
man,
to see you there.
we got to turn that.
Terrapin.
There's got to be something in that. The Grateful Dead, like even though we're West Coast, there's got to be something in that. So there's this awesome. I love this picture. They don't use this like as often nowadays, but this is the logo I would be running with every single day with this team.
Oh yeah, this is the strongest I've seen so far. It's so.
Speaking of that
Wow.
guy you don't want to see outside of the bar late at night, Randy White. His name, I mean, is kind of the kind of person you wouldn't want to see, a Randy White. Am I right? Randy White looks fucking badass. I don't really want to tie Randy White with that kind of activity because he seems like a fine gentleman. Definitely the best Maryland Terrapin that ever gone out of there. And then SECU Stadium, SECU never. I don't really want to go there. I like that it's a horseshoe. I've always
Love
liked
that.
Looks nice enough. I just don't think I want to go here. Maybe I'd want to check out Baltimore. I don't even know how far away it is, but Baltimore
is
seems
the best, dude. Talk
You like
about Baltimore was a trip the first time I went. I didn't know what to expect, and then what I was given was like, whoa. There's some very tough areas, and then all of a sudden you pop into this quaint little zone of like small bookstores and little cafes, and then they're like, yeah, 4 blocks that way is where so and so is buried. I think Etta James is buried there, maybe.
That's cool. Yeah, I'd love to go. Maybe we will go to Maryland.
Edgar
Screw
Allan
it.
Poe is buried there, I think.
Definitely. I know he loves Baltimore. Yeah, so Randy White, I got to say this too. Looks like a badass, first of all, even in old age. Not only that, though, his nickname, the Manster, because he was half man and half monster.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hamster.
I know, I thought that, I can't not
Because he
think
gets scary
hamster.
around real good.
I can't not think it. He was a co-MVP of a Super Bowl. And yes, absolutely. Just
Why not just call him the Ransterd?
I like that a lot. I know Manster makes me laugh because it's dumb. He won the Outland Trophy and the Lombardi Award. And then, like Super Bowl MVP. Won a Super Bowl, obviously. 7 first-time All-Pro. 9-time Pro Bowl. Amazing player. Yeah.
Yeah.
We honor you, Randy White. We've got plenty of Randy Whites that listen to the show, so we're glad to have you on. And here he is.
Uh-huh.
This is Testudo.
Okie dokie.
I like the name a lot. I like this soft underbelly. I think this is like one of those like softer shelled turtles. I don't know what's up with this guy.
I gotta say,
it's a specific turtle, though.
It seems like maybe it needs a. Yeah, that needs an update.
I mean,
That's
are you
old.
saying? Would you
That's
like
gross.
put the scary white face on this turtle?
I
would that
wouldn't
be
wear
okay?
that bodysuit if you paid me $100,000 a game.
It looks like you gotta cut the soles of the feet out to let the sweat just drain.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah. That's one of those things you buy at a vintage mall, and then you're like, huh. Got a weird little crustiness to the inside here, huh?
Okay. Now, also, it is cold in all these places, like colder, I would think, at the time. So
Okay.
maybe it's keeping you a little Warmer? I don't know. He's a Diamondback terrapin, by the way. So they really like the Diamondbacks. This brand of turtle.
Diamondback terrapin. Okay.
I like him. He's a little wonky, but I like him.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the interaction
Penn
with
State. Now, unfortunately, I still associate this logo with when you were watching the news and hear about some terrible scandals. I guess I don't necessarily want to always think about that when I think of Penn State, but it still pops up in my head a lot more. But Penn State is also a great college football program, college football team history. It's unfortunate that the history is now tied to some monsters, but yes, Penn State. I would like to see a game there for the experience. The atmosphere seems really crazy. They love their whiteouts, so they all wear white, and just a lot of white faces, a lot of white shirts in the crowd.
When you first bumped this logo up, the immediate reaction I had to it was that I was looking at some kind of financial institution or insurance institution that had just claimed bankruptcy, but all of the executives got like $1 billion bailout.
It's like Lionel
That's
United.
what that looks like to me. It just looks like something's evil about it.
Here at Lions Guard United, we make sure that your investments go best for you. Yeah. You and your family. Yeah.
We invest.
It looks
so
like a wealth management, institution.
That's it.
I do like the cut of the lion's jib. I think it's a good little drawing. Blue and white. I also kind of think of BYU more often when I see these exact colors. But whatever.
I just see a polo shirt with an asshole wearing it. Now this dude looks like a monster. Wow.
Jack Ham.
Wow.
Jack Ham is a fantastic name. He's 74 years young. And
in that photo?
Outside line. Yeah. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so you know he's good. And one of the best there's ever been. 4-time Super Bowl champion. Have yourself a day. Absolutely. Pretty cool. And he's a radio personality as well. I love him.
That's great. He's had a full life career.
Mm-hmm. And then this always kind of tripped me out, obviously, being an Oregon fan. Beaver Stadium is where they play.
Yeah.
That's not Beaver. What? Beaver? Yeah, but they play at Beaver Stadium. I would like to go there. It seems like a nuts environment. I think over the years I'm gonna. There's basically a I like them Big Ten lists. Like I kind of rooting for them when we're not playing them, and I want them to lose and then the other side of it when they're because I feel that way for certain Pac-12 schools. There's Pac-12 schools I don't like. Like I respect Utah, but I usually am rooting against them. I don't really root for ASU all that often, or even Arizona most of the time, but I like Cal. I like Wazoo. I'm rooting against Washington. So I'm trying to figure out where I stand with a lot of these. I think Penn State's going to be a team I don't like. But we'll see. Maybe they'll grow on me. And there's this horrifying motherfucker who replaces the Cal Golden Bear. I forget his name. The scary bear in that. This will now be in my nightmares. The Nittany Lion. Very old school. Very A24 killer kind of now, I would think. Like it feels like he'd be in an Ari Aster movie.
See, I kind of am going the opposite way. I would say it looks like the lead in a Michel Gondry movie. So it's actually really light and playful. It's just he looks a little off. You know what I mean?
He does look a little off.
I love
there's
it.
That.
It's also needs an update terribly, but I would be upset if they did update it.
It's the weird thing where it's like you get to a point sometimes there's a tipping point where you're like, oh, this needs an update. We should update. This looks bad. But then when it gets old enough, you're like, well, now we can't. Now the fact that it's so old and shitty and never updated, that's what we got to hold on to. And I get it, but someone puked in it at some point, and it's just never going to get rid of that smell.
the big joy of it too is it very much screams, yeah, this was as good as the person could do.
Yeah.
Like,
it is nice.
Yeah, they can't do very much better.
I like it. Maybe he's my favorite mascot. I don't know. Then we'll go to the next one. Oh, we know it. Ohio State is the brand. I mean, not only that, but our history of it was like 9 straight attempts at beating them. Each one would have been a huge historic win of like Oregon's here, and then we lost all of them. And then we get to that 10th time, we go to Ohio State, and Mario Cristobal and Anthony Brown get us the win, as does C.J. Verdell. Like, I still think possibly the biggest regular season game in Oregon football history, the biggest win. We covered it on this podcast. I doubted it would happen, but it did happen. So that's where we're at with them right now, but they are still the cream of this conference. Them and the next team we're going to talk about, they are just top tier alongside like even Georgia and Alabama.
Right.
Not quite, but they're right below them, at least right below Georgia or so. Now, Archie Griffin.
Okay.
When we're talking about teams with the history of Ohio State, their best player has got to be absolutely insanely good, because they've been good for 100 years, like longer than 100 years. So
Dude,
Archie Griffin, yeah,
those
he's
shoulder
amazing.
pads,
yeah, right.
Amazing.
He looks great. What a great photo too.
Yeah.
Archie Griffin is he was a running back, obviously, for 7 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals. Played college football for the Buckeyes. Only 2 Heisman Trophy winner. The only 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. He won it twice. Isn't that nuts?
Stupid question. Has anybody won it 3 times? That's stupid, right? You can't do that.
That's idiotic. How dare you? No, I'm joking.
Okay, so
no
he's the most winningest Heisman Trophyist.
I believe, yes. And he's considered the greatest college football, one of the greatest college football players of all time. Won 4 Big Ten Conference titles with the Buckeyes. First ever player to start in 4 Rose Bowls. So just absolutely the best you could be, honestly. 2 Heisman trophies. It's amazing. 2 Walter Camp Awards. And they retired his number even, as they should. And he looks cool as hell.
This sounds like the dude that if you ever bring up his name in a negative way, Ohio State will eat you alive, I bet.
Dude, I had some friends who went to the Oregon-Ohio State game in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
And they said those fans were ferocious. Just
Really?
It was like 2 things. Either being rude to them, rude in a way that is acceptable, I would say. Like, just like quacking at them, throwing breadcrumbs at them, being like, we're going to kick your ass kind of thing. Nothing quite over the line per se. And then the only other kind of person would be like, wow, I'm really sorry you came out here just to watch your team lose. Like, that's really sad. I'm sorry about it. Like, condescending, like, ooh, wow. You're really, yeah.
Ohio State was throwing breadcrumbs at us because we're ducks?
That's a regular thing. That's happened for 50 years at this point, yeah. Which is kind of funny. Even though bread
seems a bit over the line.
Bread is dangerous to ducks, so it's actually really negative, terrible propaganda. So how about you check yourself, opposing fans? Now, Ohio Stadium is where they play. Just an amazing venue. I would love to go there. Crazy shit going on there. So many people can fit there. And Brutus the Buckeye. We know him well.
Wow, this guy.
I like that it's original. And local,
He looks exactly like a mascot should.
Yes,
that is
exactly.
So perfect.
I agree. And it's like an Ohio Buckeye. That's what we have here. Let's make that bing, bang, boom. That's what it should be. It should be something about your local. It's like, no, let's do a Wildcat.
What is a Buckeye?
Everyone does one. A Buckeye, I'm glad you asked, is I believe it is I wanted to say nut, but I got the specific answer here. It is It is it's a fucking nut.
Okay.
It's part of the soapberry family.
Okay.
I can show you a picture of it, and you'll be like, "Oh, I know what a buckeye is." Well, I'll show it to you
I don't
afterwards.
know. I am
It
assuming
looks like his
his
face.
head is a buckeye.
It looks like his face, yeah.
Yeah,
Right here.
that looks like a potato or a donut to me, and I'm for both.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of this. Don't worry. Now comes, usually Ohio State is the top. If it's not Ohio State, it's usually this other team. Very famous old team, an institution, the Michigan Wolverines. I did not find the correct blue, but I feel like it's fine to throw shade at them.
That is an amazing photo.
Isn't it great? This is, of course, not something they're using regularly in their rotation. It's just like all the other ones, where it's like wartime, the little war Navy hat, and them looking really angry. It's the best time for design for college football. They need to just bring it all back.
Well, let's just be honest about it. It's the best time for American economics.
Yeah.
War
We need to bring
stimulates
back.
growth.
Oppenheimer's really doing well. We need to bring back World Wars. They seem to be.
I
really
heard it
good
was
for
not
us.
good.
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
Hot
you're the one who
take.
told me.
Hot take. I didn't like it. Sue me. Final
Okay.
listener listening to it. Now, Michigan, obviously very famous school. Oops. That is not Drew Brees. I fucked up, everybody. That's Charles Woodson. Obviously, I used the same template, and so now I've got Charles Woodson labeled as Drew Brees, and I apologize to everybody.
So which one is it supposed to be?
It's Charles Woodson. The picture's right, but it should be Charles Woodson.
Just type in Charles Woodson there real quick.
Oh, okay. I gotta go to the slideshow. Well, and I want people to know how much of an idiot I am, so I'm not editing this part out. But have you ever Michigan Wolverines? You're not a giant football fan or college football fan in general, but you probably at least heard of this team, right? Like them?
No, never
The
heard
Michigan
of
Wolverines?
them. I've never seen that mascot before. I've never heard of the Big House, except for whenever you go into the Big House. This is all completely new to me. I gotta say, I would absolutely go to that Big House, though, because that looks like just about the most fun spot. I bet you get epic sunsets.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a very famous place to play. It looks like a great setting, honestly.
I'm so sorry.
What the fuck?
Where is this place located again? Michigan?
Why, this is Michigan. This is, of course, in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, no crap. How intriguing.
I thought so too. Okay, now I got it fixed. Sorry, listeners. Yes, I'm an idiot. You already knew this. We all knew this, all right? Oh, fuck.
You having a good time over there, bud?
No, I'm having a terrible time.
Is this the top team? Is this our most dangerous team?
Well, I would still put Ohio State. I still got such good memories of beating Michigan with Dennis Dixon behind the. I mean, that was a big moment for the Ducks. Obviously, that Michigan team was like a little bit lower than their historic highs a while before, but I mean, the fake Statue of Liberty play is one of the more famous Duck plays out there. And it's because it was coming against a storied program like this.
Right.
Now, Charles Woodson, I'm sorry to insult you because he's actually one of my favorite players we've put on this list so far because you got to love this, Aaron. One of the absolutely well, you don't get many. He's the only defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy, which is just stupid that it's that way, because if it's for the best player period, then it shouldn't just be for quarterbacks and running backs and receivers. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It
I mean, that
seems
means
like
a
it's
lot.
probably very hard to gauge that, however, right? Because, like...
Oh, yeah, because it's a team
Who's to say
thing.
that you did? I mean, I guess statistically speaking, if you do everything you're supposed to do on the defense, it just never looks as impressive on paper because there's no visual to go along with it. It's just a stat. How weird.
Yeah.
Only one defensive player, and it's this man, and you got his name wrong.
I know. I'm keeping it in. I want people to know I'm an idiot. Set the bar low, you know. But I mean, also I was a Green Bay Packers fan for I was really into it when I was younger, and he is a great Green Bay Packer. Won a Super Bowl and the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He was the Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
Obviously won the Heisman Trophy, like I said. Jim Thorpe Award. You know I love my Jim Thorpe. Ohio Mr. Football, which you gotta love that.
Mr. Football.
The 2-time NFL interceptions leaders for 2 different seasons. Like, a great player that I've completely insulted. He'll probably never be on the show anymore. Now, Aaron, this is kind of a bummer as far as, like, ending the show on, but they don't got a mascot. Even though they're called the Wolverines. Like, just make a Wolverine. Am I right?
Huh.
They've tried it. They've tried it a couple of times, but
You don't have any pics of them?
Because they were like, well, we're trying to do like live. We don't want to do live animals. They like tried like a couple of dogs, a couple of bulldogs for a while, just didn't work out, and then they just gave up on it. And it's like, just make literally like the comic book version of Wolverine. Early yellow, I guess the cartoon version of Wolverine. Make an anthropomorphic Wolverine wear that costume, and people will fucking flock to you. You'll have even more fans, Michigan.
I would do this is it. You actually get a hamster. And
A manster? Did you say manster or did you say hamster?
Hamster.
Hamster. Okay, I just got confused.
And you just build tunnel systems that go throughout the stadium for this hamster to run around in. And you call it the Wolverine tunnels.
Oh, shit.
And you just
That's
pretend that this hamster is a Wolverine.
That's actually awesome. That is...
And it just runs around through the seats and stuff. People are like, oh, the Wolverine.
That's actually a great damn idea. Especially because how excited you would be when you saw it finally, like, run under your seat.
Because
like,
it'd be so
shit.
huge. And you just, we'll put food throughout all the tunnels and hay throughout all the tunnels so it has plenty of places to sleep and hang out and be totally safe away from other things getting into it.
That is awesome. And you put a little
Maybe you get like 10
GoPro on it.
hamsters and you call them a Wolverine pack.
Holy shit, man. I love it. I love it so much. Listeners, that has been the Quack 12 podcast. We can't end on a better idea for what would fix this conference than that.
Right.
Please go over to quack12podcast.com. There, you can click on a link that'll go straight to the Quack 12 Patreon to help this podcast sustain for the future and to help us grow. Please go over to Quack 12 Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. Leave a comment. Aaron, any last minute words of wisdom?
No, I think I pretty much covered everything today.
You fucking nailed it with that idea. I love it so much.
Yeah.
We love y'all so much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack. Bye.